Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals.
Hey, it works when we have the screen. Hey, welcome to This Week in Real Estate. I'm Jonathan Harmon. That's Bryan Nale right there. And he's doing that. Oh, look, you look ripped, dude. Do that again. Woo, look at them muscles. I don't have a good intro. We came up with a lame one, and then I chickened out because it just wasn't very good.
Where we put the deal, and what's the dealio?
Yeah.
You told me not to do it.
I did, and it was bad. Just as bad as I thought it would be. It's got me all choked up.
You know what our challenge is going to be you can see the computer screen up here, all right, in the camera shop. We can see what the audience is seeing. Challenge is going to be to look at the camera, and not the screen,
or each other.
We can look at each other, but we can't look at the screen, or else we'll just be like this the whole time.
Yeah, and this is just weird.
Yeah, it's not for a good viewing audience.
It's not. So, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. It's been a roller coaster of the last 2 weeks in the interest rate world. So, Trent, if you want to take us over to headlines, let's just dive right in.
Let's do it. Diving. I have no idea what he just said.
So the headline that I'm going to lead with is, welcome to the new Spread the Positive studio.
Yes, I was just about to say.
And thank you for bearing with us as we work out some kinks. We're used to Trent being our producer, being in the room with us, where he can tell us what's going on and we can communicate freely. We're going to end up with some headphones for future episodes of this, so that
which makes me so happy. By the way,
he's in the room, like one room over, producing the show. So we're kind of learning as we go here.
Yeah, we actually have a tin can over here with a string that's run over there, but it looks weird holding up a vegetable can to my head.
We decided to not use that, so we're using the game telephone where Missy's kind of running up and down the hall telling us what's going on. We can't tell from the screen. So anyway, thank you for bearing with us during that break there.
That was a good headline.
That was a good headline. Yeah. The other headline,
and that definitely impacts the real estate world here in Rutherford County.
Yeah, because everybody's hanging on the balance of our words in our show. Like, everybody's like, "What is This Week in Real Estate going to say? That's going to dictate if I buy a house this weekend or not."
Yeah.
You know what else might dictate somebody buying a house is interest rates.
Yes. Hey, and I just noticed something. Trent snuck in a Carolina Panthers sticker into our video. Let's just say that the views, it's on the back of his laptop. So should we just say that the views of this laptop do not necessarily represent the views of either of the hosts?
Yeah. I want to see, that being said, since you're talking NFL, I want to see the comments on this episode fill up with feedback on the Titans' new jerseys. Do you love them? Do you hate them? I didn't like them at first. I wasn't a fan of the stuff that got leaked out early. But seeing the full product on the players, and then moving, man, they look good. I do think
the uniforms are fine. The color change, I do like the two-tone blue, but I'm okay with the Oilers colors. I was an Oilers fan before I was a Titans fan. The new logo sucks, dude. It's too simplistic.
It's very basic.
It's just not
It's very basic. I would like there to be some sort of reference to the Greek mythology incorporated in
or the
there.
State of Tennessee.
Well, that's all it's all about. It's all about the state of Tennessee. You got the TriStar.
But the top of the T could be the state. I mean, like, there's so many missed opportunities.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You know what it reminds me of? A Cybertruck. Like, it's so simple that it's too simple.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it gets back to this. Do they win football games?
That's really all I care about.
Do they win football games? And
they could just have a hand-scribbled T if they win football games. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So interest rates. Let's just talk in a broad sense of what's happened in the last 2 weeks. and how and I'll say a few things about where I think it's leading to. I think interest rates had fallen. We had seen FHA rates consistently in the fives. Conventional rates were getting real close to starting with the 5 with no points. A lot of loans that I'm closing this week and this month are loans that were locked last month, and they're conventional mortgages with an interest rate in the fives.
Nice.
Now some of them had discount points that,
Sure.
Some 15-year terms.
A lot of qualifiers here, right?
There's all the qualifiers, all the legal, like this. I'm not giving any interest rate quotes here. But I'm telling you what I saw.
This is a historical look back.
And that's not necessarily what we're seeing now. Since things unfolded in the Middle East, interest rates have been steadily increasing. Now, what is super important here is that if you are watching this and you are a real estate agent, you need to be checking in with your pipeline of people that you have pre-qualified and saying, hey, have you talked with your lender since they gave you an estimate?
Yes.
2 weeks ago. Because what you don't want to have happen is that this week you go out and you write an offer on a house that you were pre-qualified for 2 weeks ago, and now you're not pre-qualified for it. Or maybe you can still get approved for it, but it's no longer a payment you're comfortable with.
Yeah, your payment's gone up $100, $150 because your rate went up a half a point or whatever.
And that's a very likely, that could very easily be the case right now. So if you're watching this and you're a loan officer, check in on your pipeline. Give everybody you have pre-qualified an update this week. You've got this afternoon. It's Friday. Like, you should be checking with your pipeline. Do that. Check in with the people that were thinking they might refi 2 weeks ago, but they just didn't quite pull the trigger yet. Check in with them and let them know what's happened. And so here's where it goes, right? Okay, so we know what's happened the last 2 weeks, and we know why. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about that on this show.
So hold on a second. So we do know what, and we know like the basic answer of why. What I don't understand, and this is where we get a little bit more into economics, right?
Yeah.
Why is us attacking Iran? Does that drive interest rates up?
Great question.
Real estate interest rates.
So we can talk about that for a minute. So think about it from the viewpoint of if you manage a hedge fund, if you manage a state's pension plan, if you have a bunch of money that you're looking to invest in something fairly safe, you're looking for things like commodities, oil, mortgage-backed securities, those government bonds.
Sure.
So when you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, oil is still pretty safe investment, but I can get a better return because oil futures are going up. So I can buy oil now, and because there's likely to be a backlog of an oil shortage with the Strait of Hormuz being blocked, I'm going to make more money on the oil.
So I'm buying fewer MBS.
So my money is backing out of mortgage-backed securities and it's going over to oil. Well, what do the lenders need to do? We need to offer a better rate of return to those investors.
There you go.
That they can to attract their dollars back to us. So with money flowing over to oil, you're seeing mortgage rates have to increase to compete for investors' dollars.
And this is on oil futures, meaning it's a gamble as to us thinking that whatever the time frame out is, we think that oil is going to go up in price, and that's a pretty safe. Assumption.
That's a safe assumption right now. So that, and I think you got uncertainty there with what this is going to be, because of some inflationary pressure points too.
Sure.
So not only do you're competing for investor dollars, you're also dealing with the potential inflation ramifications of oil being higher. That affects costs of goods being transported. So that affects the cost of goods being what they are.
Just a line item on our budgets.
It affects how much you're paying at the pump. It affects how much plane tickets cost. It affects how much it costs to ship a container from the East Coast to Missouri.
How much it costs to build a house. How much it costs to, everything.
Fuel. Obviously fuel. Energy. A lot of homes in the Northeast are fueled by oil. So you've got all these inflationary things in place too, which if you watch this show or if you read up on economics, you know that inflationary periods are usually met with higher rates to try to cool things down and slow the economy down and keep inflation from running away. So if you have super low interest rates at the same time that oil prices and other inflationary pressures are going up, you could it's like throwing kerosene, no pun intended, into the economy. And so we want to the Fed's going to want to watch that and avoid that. So
Makes sense.
But then at the same
Thank
time,
you for that. This is why I love this guy, because it didn't make sense, and then you broke it down.
But now at the same time, you've got, Powell's on his way out in a couple months. He's going to be replaced with a hand-picked person by Donald Trump, who has got a clear mandate from Donald Trump to get housing affordability back into improve housing affordability. And so one of the ways to do that is by lowering mortgage rates. Well, the Fed can't control mortgage rates, but they can do other things. So there's some uncertainty there.
But it's an optimistic uncertainty on that side.
On that side, but he's got you got to remember this. He's the Fed chair. His job is not just mortgage rates. He has the
all
Federal
monetary
Reserve
policy.
is setting all the monetary policy to try to keep the economy flowing smoothly. So this is going to be interesting to see for us locally, regionally, nationally. I feel like my pipeline got really full this spring. Coming out of February and into
Which
March.
is funny, by the way. We're mid-March and we're calling it spring.
I know.
We're not really in
We're
spring
not even,
yet.
Yeah, the spring is just started, but I have picked up my volume of applications and the level of busy I feel. Where I'm always busy. I've always got stuff going on, but like the level of busy where okay, now I'm working until 9 o'clock at night.
Prioritized.
And catching up on files at night, because during the day I was having so many conversations and then working on the applications at night, right? Or getting up at 5 a.m. to work. Like that's been what I've done for the last 2-3 weeks. So is there enough momentum in the pipeline, not my pipeline, but in the pipeline? Is there enough momentum of buyers who are excited by those lower rates to propel through the spring and into the summer if rates sustain in the mid sixes?
Well, and so I'm going to throw a little wrinkle on that as well.
How many of those buyers pop out of the market, or sellers pop out of wanting to move because now
rates
have
go
ticked
up or
a little
whatever? Yeah, and I'm going to challenge one thing on this. How much of it is actually directly because of rates? And here's where I'm going with that. We've talked about this a lot on this show, is that there is a certain level of pent-up demand. There are certain situations where people feel like they're handcuffed to their house because of a super low rate or whatever, right? And we speculate, we theorize that once rates hit whatever, a certain number, and everybody has kind of in their mind what that number is, that all of a sudden there's going to be this logjam breaking up of pent-up demand. How much of the activity that you're seeing is pent-up demand that's because of rates, right? And it's coming through. How much of it is seasonal? How much of it is that at the same time that rates have come down, we are, in fact, seeing a legitimate drop to some extent of house prices, right? We're seeing that over the market, our market specifically. I don't know about everywhere else, but our market specifically, we're seeing prices come down a little bit. I'm seeing distressed properties in the market actively, right? So is it just rates that we're dealing with, or is it the whole outcome of all of the things that we've had over the last 2 years? And so we're seeing some of that. Plus, it's the season.
I think you're right. I think it's all of the above. It is this perfect storm, if you will, of a market that is
ripe.
up. It's cooped up, so it's pent up. It's been contained by higher rates. Now the rates have come down, and it's like everything was about to break loose. It timed up well with the seasonality of people liking to make their moves in the spring and summer. So all of these things are kind of coming together. So, I mean, to answer your question, yes, it is all of the above.
I guess, would it still be the same if rates had stayed?
I don't think so.
Upper sixes.
I don't think at this fever. I think it would have been. Yeah. I think it would have been more similar to last year, where we have kind of a slow spring and a flurry in the summer, and then it just kind of cools back down. I think rates, having fallen like they did, started this spring buying season in February. I think we got there a little early, and I think there's legs with the pent up demand and everything else that you just mentioned to propel that thing through the summer.
Less toe in the water, less tire kicking, more actual
more
action.
Let's do this. You're seeing, like, I know that you're seeing multiple offers.
I'm in one right now.
I'm seeing home sale contingencies where things are getting dicey, if you will.
Well, we would have gotten kicked out. I'm in a multiple offer, just so you guys know, and it actually says we would have. He told us we would not have even been in it if we'd had a home sale.
So you're seeing those signs. My question is, where do rates need to go before they become a wet blanket that cools everything else that's ripe, everything else that's that perfect storm? How high do rates have to go to be the wet blanket that cools everything back off? And I think if we can, just like we've always said, man, consistency. If we can say, hey, look, you know it's going to be mid sixes, you can buy it down to the low sixes. I think we can kind of proceed as planned this spring and summer. If they get much higher than that, where they're high sixes and you're buying it down into the mid sixes, or even in the sevens and you're buying it down to the mid to high sixes, then I think that things really start to just kind of cool back down quickly. So if you're thinking about doing something, take that for what it's worth. One or two things might happen. And this is going to sound so cliched as I'm formulating this in my mind.
Don't do it.
If you're thinking about making a move this summer, or this spring, there's two outcomes, right? You wait and rates have gone up. That's going to help out your concessions that you ask for. That's going to help out your offer strategy, make more homes available to you. But you're going to have a higher.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with this. Go ahead.
Or the other outcome could be that rates do fall back down, and this is a busy time to be buying a house, and you're going to be in more multiple offers. You're not going to be able to ask for concessions. You're not going to be able to negotiate as well. So really, when's the best time to buy a house? Just like always,
when you're ready.
When you're ready.
Yeah.
Don't wait to try to time the market, because it's a very volatile market, and you don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, true. Trent said one of our microphones is not working. I'm not sure who specifically he's talking to.
I just had some great things to say. I hope my microphone was working.
I know. Well, I think it probably picked up some of it. But
Jonathan's saying, if you can't hear Jonathan, what Jonathan's saying is that one of our microphones is not working.
Trent, give me better direction here, buddy. He's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying.
At my age, I can see yours better than I can see mine.
I know, man. Oh, okay. He has a message on here that says the mics aren't working. It's on the screen right here. It's interesting. Okay, well,
so
never
everything
mind.
was fine that whole time.
That's great.
Back to the headlines.
So, back to the headlines.
Studio,
so Brian, Brian and I were talking to a client last night, and Brian gave some really great advice that I didn't at first blush. I was like, I don't know that I agree with him. And then as he explained himself, I was like, oh, okay, this is really good advice. So let's revisit that for a second, because one of the things that I tell a lot of clients about is the process of recasting. And in certain circumstances, you might have a X number of dollars set aside to make a purchase, but you know that at a relatively near time in the future, you're going to come into some other money. Maybe it's an inheritance. Maybe you're selling another property. Maybe there's whatever, right? Whatever that possible reason is. And so one of the things that you can do is recast your loan, which essentially says we're not going to change any of the terms, nothing about the loan, except that we're essentially going to reduce the principal and then re-amortize the loan over the same period of time that's still left. And it's a great process. You can usually do it once in a loan, and it's kind of, we'll call it your get out of jail free card a little bit. And the logic behind it is that the bank doesn't really want you, whoever's holding that loan, the mortgage-backed security, doesn't really want you to pay it off 7 years early if you dumped a huge pile of cash on it. They'd rather carry it all the way to fruition or to maturity, even if it's just at a lower overall loan amount, right? A lower principal amount. And so that's that. Well, what the alternative to that is, oftentimes, if you have that large sum of money to put down on a loan, and large is relative, right? I mean, I'm not qualifying what large looks like.
Well, I'll qualify it a little bit for you. To do a recast, it usually requires a $10,000 minimum.
There you go. Okay. So, which, you know, if it's a $500,000 loan, a $10,000 amount is not necessarily large percentage-wise, right?
Correct.
But either way, I didn't know that was the amount. That's much lower than I thought, honestly. I digress. The alternative to that is going to be to refinance the loan. And so why would you refinance, or why would you not refinance? Let's go that route. Well, you would not refinance because there's a cost associated with refinancing. There's going to be origination charges and you know, various other fees, title insurance, all these other things that you have to pay, just like you would on a purchase, your closing costs, right? But why would you refinance? Well, did the rate significantly improve? Are you changing it from a 30-year to a 15-year? Like, there's all kinds of other things that since we don't change the terms in a recast, a refinance, if you want to change the terms, is the way to go. And so as we were talking about that with these clients, you know, there's a little strategy involved in what we were talking about. There was a combining two households into one. Got two pieces of property. One's already been sold. The other one hasn't. There's going to be proceeds from the one that hasn't been sold. What's the way to go? And, you know, I thought you were going to use that cliche, the buy the
house, or date the house,
marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, please don't say that. But
no, I won't.
But in this case, that's absolutely what we were talking about. And you know, the real caveat that you have to go with on that is, but we don't know how long you're going to date that rate.
Yeah.
Right? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 2 years? We don't know.
Right.
So you have to be okay with that dated payment, right? And that's the real caveat. You know, if I looked at you and said, well, you're only going to, you know, you're probably only going to carry this payment for 6 months or whatever, that is super dangerous.
Yeah, it's tough to do that. Now, in these client situation, we know that they're going to sell another piece of real estate. They're going to have an influx of cash. And so what I'll say a lot of times when that's the case is, hey, take the proceeds from when you sell that home, put it over into a savings account, into a money market account, something that's paying a little bit of a yield to kind of offset the interest that you're paying. And these people, you know, we know that they want a shorter term. We know they don't want a 30-year mortgage. So we know their likelihood of doing a refi or a recast in the future is probably going to skew more towards a refinance unless they decide to take on the 15-year payment at the higher loan balance right now.
Right.
So they're, you know, if they win this offer, what they're going to have to decide, do we start out with a 30-year and then plan to refinance to 15 years? That makes their payment much more comfortable in the short term. Or do they just,
because it's not just the payment on the new house, they're still carrying the payment on
their old house.
one of the old houses.
That's right. And it's so or the alternative option is to start out now as you plan, right? So you know you want to be at a 15-year mortgage. You could start at a 15-year mortgage, and then you truly do have the option of a refinance or a recast in 6 or 7 months once everything's ready to be done.
But you carry a higher payment in the short term. And,
Right.
and in their case, fairly significantly higher.
And in some cases, the decision, and I'll say this, in most cases, the decision is going to be made for you because you
can't carry it.
You can't carry it. The loan will not be approvable at the debt to income ratio that you
Right.
would be at. In their case, they don't have a lot of debt. The mortgage payment on the house that hasn't sold yet, it's only like $850.
Dude, it's
a
nothing.
month.
Yeah.
So they can be approved, but in a lot of conversations, that outcome is going to be dictated by the debt to income ratio.
For sure. But it was really interesting to hear you go through it, starting out not agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And then to hear you explain it and break it down and say, okay, here's this possibility and here's this possibility and here's this possibility. And look, the clients, they're not sophisticated real estate investors, right? But they're not stupid,
right?
You know, but still there's a lot of questions. And then there's a lot of, it's like a choose your own adventure book,
well, and
right? If
many,
this, then this, if this, then that, you know.
There's so many variables.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say if another factor might be interest rates determined on credit score. So like you got somebody who's putting 30, 40% down on a house and they're going to have a 15-year term. A lot of the loan level price adjustments for a lower credit score are going to be kicked out. So if that client decides that they want to start out at the 30-year, their rate's going to be higher, significantly higher, than,
Penalized because of their credit score.
because of their loan level price adjustments, penalized because of their credit score. They're going to have a higher interest rate when they start out on that 30-year term, and then a recast is going to keep them at that higher rate. So you're going to again look much more towards a refinance down the road.
But at a 15-year, that is different.
So the 15-year terms, and I'll love this trick. If somebody's, I did this a lot in the refinance market when rates had fallen, from the 5s into the 3s or 2s on a 15-year term.
Right.
We'd refinance a lot of people with really low credit scores in the 15-year mortgages, and their interest rate wouldn't be affected because of their credit score. Because those loan level price adjustments for lower credit get kicked out when you have a 15-year term.
Because, and again, let's go to the logic here. The logic is if your credit score is lower, then how much do we trust you to repay, right? Well, if we have to stretch it out over 30 years, that trust level has to be higher, right? And the trust level is quantified by the credit score, right? But if it's only 15 years, you're paying significantly more at a time than in 2 years' time on a 30-year. You've gained almost no equity, but on a 15-year, you've gained some equity. So we can trust you more because you don't know as much on the house.
Well, you say we can trust you more. I say the aggregated risk.
Okay, whatever, same thing.
When you lump all these loans together into a mortgage-backed security, the aggregated risk is going to be reduced. And pricing is all based on risk.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I love it. So anyway, it was a great conversation, and it was really neat to listen. And then I got a chance to ask some questions too, because I wouldn't have thought through the same way that you did. Yeah. Right. So that was excellent. Good job.
All right. So Trent, if I know you can hear us, we can't hear you, but we can see the monitor. Let's go over to Shiny Penny.
Ooh, changing it up.
Changing it up. We're going to Shiny Penny early. All right, so Shiny Penny this weekend is there's a couple of things going on. Got the Scout Guide is being released this weekend, so
shout out to Sarah.
That's a cool thing Sarah Scott has put together and brought to this community.
It's gorgeous.
Other communities have had Scout Guides for a long time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the Scout Guide, but I would encourage you to pick up a copy when you see those around and about. A lot of movers and shakers are profiled in that magazine, and the release party is this weekend. So. Shout out to that. That's a Shiny Penny.
Cedar Glade made a custom beer for this party, and it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be, I can't wait to try it. And the reason I can't wait to try it is because tomorrow morning, this is my real Shiny Penny. Tomorrow morning, I'm doing something I would have never in my life thought that I would do. And I'm running a 15K for Special Kids.
15K?
15. I'm not doing, I told my son on the way to school this morning, I walked a 5K in high school, because some girls were doing it, and I thought it'd be a cool way to hang out with those girls. I have not been in a race since then. I mean, that was a long time ago, probably 30 years ago.
You're old.
And so, I started this little fitness journey a couple of years ago, and all of a sudden I found myself being able to run 5 kilometers without stopping. And so I decided to look for a race to get into. I said, let's go in. I'm going to try to do a 15K. And if it goes well, I'm going to do a half marathon next month.
How many miles is 15K?
It's like 9.3.
It's a long freaking way. And you're going to run that in one?
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to stop to walk at a couple of points. I know I can run about 6 miles before I need to stop and walk for a minute.
6 miles. So that is, we're on the square right now. So that's from the square to what, maybe Smyrna city limits?
I don't think so. I think that's further than 6 miles.
Not a lot further. It's only 30 miles to Nashville.
Good point. I don't know, Jonathan, but I know that I can run about 6 miles before I have to stop to walk for a little bit. And I'm going to try to push through that. I'm doing some things with my diet yesterday and today, and drinking lots of water and hydrating well. Anyway, I don't want the focus here on me. I want the focus on Special Kids, because Special Kids is an amazing organization here in Murfreesboro that provides incredible services to special needs kids, and so that's why
at any income level.
And so I highly Trent, if you can find my Facebook link, I put a link out there to where people can donate to my campaign, because I'm trying to raise money, through doing this.
Where is it that you're running 15K? Where's the race?
So it starts at Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Okay.
Kind of runs past the battlefield and around the battle. You kind of go around and into the battlefield. Then you go back out. You go down Wilkinson Pike. You cut through that neighborhood. You end up back at Old Nashville Highway, and then you run back to the medical clinic.
Okay. That's awesome. Man.
So yeah, Trent, find the link to the page. It's on my personal Facebook page, but throw that link in there in the comments. If anybody is still watching this episode, they can go on there and they can learn about Special Kids and they can contribute towards the race. And what I'm saying is like, look, I ran 7.5 miles on Tuesday morning, and I know that after doing that, I'm going to need some motivation for the last 2 miles of this race tomorrow. So as I get into that 7 miles kick and I got 2 miles to go, I'm going to think about all the people who made a contribution to this campaign. And
do you need me to hide at the 7.5 mile marker with a machete and a Jason mask?
Yeah.
That would be the only kind of motivation that would get me through it.
But no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean on the support of all the people who chip in and
That's awesome.
and kind of motivate me.
Good for you, buddy.
Last 2 miles strong.
And good for Special Kids.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Great organization.
We got a This Is Real.
I hope so. I think so. There it is. All right. So
This is a special. This is real.
this is a special. This is real. We actually provided this photo. I'm not going to tell you where or anything like that, but this is a photo from Real Tracks, from our regional MLS. And here's why I love this. All right. So this photo, I mean, it's terrible, right?
The house is in awful shape.
And it's a terrible picture. I mean, it's actually a pretty decent picture of a terrible.
No, you can tell. Like the
Yeah.
lighting is right. This is not a cell phone picture.
Nope.
This is a photographer took this.
And here's the thing, and we've talked about this before. When I look at this picture, a couple things kind of simultaneously go through your mind. Okay, number one is, why in the world would you include this, right? But number two is, you should include this. So this house is listed at a steeply discounted price for the neighborhood that it's in, and this picture represents the condition of the home. This is a transparent, this is real
Yeah.
type picture. And I appreciate this type of a picture being in here, because when you're flipping through, or a client is flipping through and they say, holy cow, why is this house so cheap? Well, it's right here in the photographs as to why this is so cheap. And so I have included photographs like this before to give a realistic preview, and that's what the photos in a listing should do.
This strategy says, hey, don't bring us an FHA offer.
Not going to happen.
Don't bring us. Heck, you might not even want to. You don't even bring a conventional loan offer. This is a cash renovation loan kind of deal.
Yeah.
And as the listing agent, you're not.
You're not sugarcoating it. You're not hiding anything.
You're representing the house for what it is.
That's right.
That's exactly what you said, and exactly what the listing agent in this picture has done. This is as you're scrolling through the pictures, this is not the only picture in this listing that would tell you what you're buying here.
That's right.
And that it saves people time, because nobody's gonna go, oh gosh, you can get a house in this neighborhood for that price. Let's go check it out. And you get there and you realize, oh, we can't. No, from these pictures,
You're going to do some work to this house.
You know if you should go look at this house or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So kudos to this listing agent. You did a good job presenting the MLS. My folks, I actually showed this house, and my folks did have the ability and some motivation to do some renovation work. We went and looked at it. We talked about it beforehand. We went and looked at it, and they ultimately decided that wasn't for them. But we didn't waste our time. And I didn't waste my time with someone else showing what appeared to be a deal that's too good to be true.
Right. Good job. We're going next.
I'm not sure. What's next? What's left? What's left?
Pro tip.
Pro tip. Pro tip.
Take us to pro tip, Trent. So
That was a crazy face. Thanks for being on me for that one.
we didn't really prep for a pro tip today, so I would say at this time of year, you need to be kind of aware of your home. You own some real estate. Maybe you've got some investment properties. This is a great time of year to be making sure that your lawn services are up to date.
Ooh,
that your
bug pest
your
control.
pest control is
Swarm season
in order, because you want to protect your asset. It's also not just it's also the time of year that hey, we've got so many rabbits in our yard, and we're about to have a lot more rabbits in our yard
because they do things like rabbits.
So just now's that time of year to spring maintenance, check your house, check your investment, because your home is your investment, right? So,
Absolutely. That's a good way to go, man. That was excellent.
all right.
Yeah.
Pro tip on the fly.
Yeah, I love it. But to your point, look, if you haven't been in your crawl space in a long time,
Yeah.
put on some dirty clothes, get down in that crawl space, just look around. If it looks wrong, it probably is.
It smells weird.
Smells weird. If it's a little like too warm, little too damp, little too whatever, it's squishy, get somebody to come look at it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. I think you got some listings you wanted to kind of feature.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of listings right now. Trent's got the map pulled up there. So first one is 2232 Oak Haven. We've talked about this one before. We've done a little work to this house, got some new paint, some new flooring. But the coolest part about this listing right now, it is on 1.28 acres. So we've added some land to it. And it's a real wide lot. It's got a cool little fire pit, little grove thing going on. Got new appliances. This listing is really nice. And we're very competitively priced at $450 on this. So if you want some space, want some elbow room, I mean, when I say in the middle of town, I literally mean in the middle of town. It's right off of Jones Boulevard. And it's in a cul-de-sac. This is a really cool opportunity for someone. And that bottom picture, Trent, that very bottom one right there gives some approximation of the property lines on that. And I mean, it's a pretty nice chunk of land there.
That's a nice size lot.
It is.
I like the way the lot's laid out too, where the home's positioned in there. And,
Same.
And that's nice.
Yep, same. And then this one is awesome. So I happen to know the owner of this house very, very, very well. She and her husband are integral parts of the J. Harmon home team. And this house has been well loved. It's got new carpet in it. It's a big old corner lot. Sometimes corner lots are weird. This one is not. It sits very well on the corner, and it doesn't have the teeny tiny backyard that sometimes happens with corner lots. Great open floor plan, great neighborhood with a pool, all of that kind of stuff. Over in that like in between Rockvale and Blackman kind of area over there. That little wedge over there, yeah. So huge bonus room. It's a beautiful home. They're wanting to downsize a little bit. Got that empty nest thing going on, and just want a little less space. This one's almost 3,000 square feet, and it's just looking for the next group of people to love this house. So pretty cool house. So check that one out. That's on Lantern Lane. And then this one, I don't typically take listings outside of our area. This is one that I was called on to help with. It's in Portland. This house is gorgeous. Big lot. It's got you can see the pictures, man. It is just absolutely gorgeous. It's got some really cool appliances in it. That is a baby grand piano in the living room. That's how big that living room is.
Does it convey?
Everything's negotiable.
There you
go.
There you go.
That's the best way I know to answer that.
That chandelier.
It's awesome. This house is beautiful, man. So if you are looking up in that Portland area, it's very convenient.
Look at that tub.
To Nashville. Yeah, dude. It's awesome. Super convenient to Nashville, and it's a cool layout, and it's a great house. So if you're interested in that area, let me know. And look at that backyard. It's enormous. Above ground pool with a custom deck around it. It's a cool spot. Cool house.
Nice. All right. I think that's a show.
I think that's a show. Sounds like a show.
The studio looks amazing. Looks great. We'll get these kinks and we'll work those out. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in to This Week in Real Estate.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Premise Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Premise Bank, a member FDIC. Premise Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.